I exposed my manager in front of the entire company during a quarterly meeting and watched his career collapse in real time. The projector flickered behind me, casting a sharp white glow across the room. Slide after slide revealed what he thought would stay hidden: emails, timestamps, document histories showing my name removed and replaced with his. The silence that followed wasn't normal corporate silence. It was heavy, uncomfortable, final. Victor sat frozen in the front row, his confidence draining with every click of the remote in my hand. For 2 years, I had been the quiet one. The one no one noticed. The one whose work spoke louder than he ever did, but was never credited. But that morning, something shifted. People who had never looked at me twice were now staring, reading, realizing. And for the first time since I joined that company, I wasn't invisible. I was undeniable. And there was no going back. My name is Adrian Cole. I'm a 31-year-old management consultant, and 2 years ago, I landed what I believed was my dream job at a respected mid-sized consulting firm. I wasn't the loudest person in the room, and I didn't try to be. I believed results mattered more than personality. I showed up early, stayed late, and focused on doing things right the first time. Consistency was my strength. My manager, Victor, noticed that early on, or at least, that's what I thought. In the beginning, he pulled me aside after meetings and praised my attention to detail. He told me I had long-term potential in the company. But something didn't add up. Because in meetings, especially in front of leadership, it was like I didn't exist. My contributions disappeared the moment they left my inbox. At first, I told myself it was a misunderstanding. Looking back now, I realized that was the moment I started becoming invisible. The first time it happened, I convinced myself it was just an oversight. I had spent nearly 3 weeks building a major client proposal. Late nights, skipped weekends, every section of that presentation was mine. I knew every detail, every number, every recommendation. On presentation day, Victor stood confidently at the front of the room, guiding the client through slides I had created. My slides. My strategy. My exact wording. I sat in the back, waiting for acknowledgement. Even a simple mention. It never came. When the client praised the structure and clarity, Victor smiled and said, "Thank you. I've been refining this approach for some time." I remember sitting there, forcing a neutral expression while something shifted inside me. That was the first time I felt it. Not anger. Something worse. Doubt. After that, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Every report I submitted turned into his update. Every idea I shared privately resurfaced as his strategy in meetings. It was subtle, but consistent. He would ask me to send drafts via email, always emphasizing urgency. Minutes later, those same drafts would be forwarded to senior leadership, with my name removed. During meetings, he had a way of interrupting at just the right moment. "Let me clarify that," he'd say. Then he would repeat exactly what I had just explained, but with authority. And suddenly, the room listened. It wasn't just about credit anymore. It was about control. And I was slowly losing mine. When I finally confronted him, I expected a serious conversation. Instead, he laughed. "Come on," Victor said, leaning back in his chair. "You're part of the team. We all contribute." "But you're presenting my work as yours," I said, keeping my tone controlled. He smiled, almost amused. "That's how leadership works. You'll understand one day." The way he said it made me question myself. Like maybe I didn't understand how things worked. Like maybe I was overreacting. I left his office feeling smaller than when I walked in. Confused, frustrated, and unsure. The breaking point came during my performance review. I walked in expecting at least acknowledgement for the workload I had taken on. Instead, Victor slid a document across the desk. "Needs improvement in initiative." I stared at him, genuinely stunned. "I've been leading 3 projects," I said. He nodded calmly. "Yes, but leadership is about visibility." That word stayed with me long after the meeting ended. Visibility. The one thing he had been quietly taking from me. That was the moment everything changed. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed everything, every meeting, every email, Every moment I stayed quiet when I should have spoken up. At some point, the confusion faded, and clarity replaced it. This wasn't accidental. Victor wasn't overlooking me. He was using me, and I had been letting it happen. I had two choices: walk away or take control. Quitting would be easier, but it wouldn't fix anything, so I chose the harder path. I stayed, and I started preparing. I began documenting everything with precision. Emails, drafts, version histories. I saved copies before sending anything. I logged meeting notes immediately after discussions. Who said what, and when. It felt excessive. But I knew one thing. If I ever exposed him, it had to be undeniable. Then the opportunity came. A high-profile client project. Victor assigned it to me. "Handle the work," he said. "I'll present." I agreed. But this time, I was ready. I embedded subtle identifiers into my work. Unique phrasing. Distinct structures. Patterns that couldn't be accidental. If he used it again, I could prove it. Presentation day confirmed everything. I sat in the back, quiet, watching. Victor stepped forward like always, confident, polished, completely in control. And then he did exactly what I expected. He presented my work. Word for word. Slide for slide. Even the small identifiers I had embedded, the phrasing, the structure, the sequencing. He didn't just use my ideas. He owned them. The client loved it. They nodded, asked questions, praised the clarity. Victor smiled like he had built it all himself. But this time, something was different. I wasn't frustrated. I wasn't doubting myself. I wasn't waiting for recognition. I already had what I needed. Proof. And for the first time since this started, I knew exactly how it was going to end. I compiled everything. Then I sent it. HR. Leadership. Subject line. Clarification on project contributions. Within an hour, everything shifted. HR responded. Victor called. I stayed calm. This time, I had control. HR asked for proof. I delivered it. Victor didn't. Then others came forward. Same pattern. Different victims. A company-wide meeting was scheduled. This time, people were watching me. The room felt different that morning. Tighter. Quieter. Everyone knew something was about to happen. The presentation started normally, until the slides changed. Emails appeared. Documents. Side-by-side comparisons. My work. Other people's work. All traced back. All misrepresented. You could feel the shift instantly. People stopped taking notes. Stopped pretending. They were watching. Victor tried to speak. This is being taken out of context. Please stop, the director said, cutting him off. That was it. No shouting. No drama. Just silence. The kind that ends careers. And just like that, everything he built started falling apart. Victor was removed. Immediately. 1 week later, he was gone. I was promoted. His reputation followed him. And opportunities disappeared. I moved on. Not just from the situation, but from the version of myself that allowed it. I stopped waiting for recognition. Stopped assuming hard work would speak for itself. Because it doesn't. Not always. Sometimes you have to make it visible. Unexpectedly. Now, I lead the team. And no one is invisible anymore. He reached out. I responded. And closed that chapter. Sometimes you have to protect it. And sometimes you have to prove it. I'm no longer the quiet guy in the back of the room. But I'm also not loud. I'm intentional, focused, and aware. Now, when I lead meetings, I make sure every contribution is acknowledged. Because I know what it feels like to disappear. And I know how powerful it is to be seen. Victor taught me a lesson he never intended to. Not about work. About value. And once you understand your value, no one can take it from you again.